Hi, my name is Helen and I am a mental health nurse and an EFT practitioner. EFT stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, otherwise known as tapping. I've been using EFT at work with the people that I work with, the patients, for over 12 months now. The results that I've been getting with them has been quite amazing, to say the least. I've been working with people with really intense, challenging emotions, and it's really difficult for them to regulate that emotion. And as a consequence of that, a lot of our people suffer conditions such as anxiety and depression, PTSD, otherwise known as post-traumatic syndrome. There's also people with phobias, obsessive compulsive disorders. So basically what we're working with tapping is reducing the intensity of these really difficult emotions to diffuse with a very simple technique called tapping. For the purposes of any subsequent video, I will mostly refer to EFT as tapping, just for ease of use, but at times I will also sort of, change from EFT to tapping. But EFT actually stands for Emotional Freedom Technique, a technique that was simplified by Gary Craig, who was an engineer quite some time ago. So without getting too caught up in the history and how it came about, it is a very simple technique which brings together Western psychology and acupuncture, which has about 4,000, 5,000 years old. So they're bringing those two together, and the tapping, if you like, or stimulating what they call the meridian points on their face, on and around their face, their collarbone, under their arm. Now I'm going through it quite quickly, but I'll go through it properly and very slowly so you can actually follow me if you like. And then back to the top of the head like so. Now this is a very simple technique. There are a lot of different variations around there. What I really love about this technique is that it essentially empowers people to take charge of their life again, to basically, so that they can function at a manageable state. Anxiety and depression and a lot of mental health issues are very challenging for some people, and it's difficult because with most, or should I say some, patients, the emotional dysregulation, another meaning the emotional intensity, is very difficult to manage because it has been disrupted in their early childhood, usually in the first 6 or 7 years of their life. And what I mean by that is that part of their brain hasn't fully developed because it has actually been encapsulated in a trauma memory. Now I'm feeling that I'm getting too into it again. So I'll go back to the very simple technique of tapping, and I will be including some more videos or YouTubes to explain a bit more about it. So right now I will just show you a very simple tapping procedure, but I will actually go through the points first and then we'll actually do a tap. For an example, I want to keep it really simple, okay? I would like for you to, and you would really benefit if you follow along with me. So the points that we're going to talk is this fleshy part, the base of the wrist there, the hand I should say, and at the bottom of the little finger. This is meaty part here, as if you're doing a karate chop point. This is the karate chop area that they refer to. Now this is where you tap with 2 or 3 fingers. I usually just use 3 because it's quite easy. That is where you actually start. That's your starting point. Either side is okay. You can either do it together or you can do it on the, individually. It doesn't matter if either side, whatever is comfortable for you. But generally they have the dominant hand tapping on the least dominant hand. But just find out what a good fit for you. So that is where we actually start. It's called the karate chop point. The alternative to the karate chop point is what they call the saw point, which is either side here. Now you can just sort of feel where it's actually sore and tender. So I will actually include a diagram so you can actually hopefully be able to download or link to download a diagram of where these points actually are. But just to make it quite simple, let's just stick with the karate chop point, yeah? This is where you actually tap, right there, just right there. Now, not too hard that you're going to leave bruising, okay? I've actually had people who I've had to say don't tap so hard because I've actually left bruising. I think maybe the mentality was the harder I tap, the quicker it will go. It doesn't work like that. Just enough tensity that you feel it, but not too hard that it hurts. Okay, so that's where you tap and you start, and you include your setup statement there. I'll come back to that. The first part area that you go after the karate chop point. So you do your setup statement, blah 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 blah, and then you start to tap the very beginning of the eyebrow. So not. Oh, that was impromptu. Sorry about that. Anyway, the beginning of the eyebrow, okay, 2 fingers, just stimulate about 5 to 10 times each point. So the beginning of the eyebrow, okay, outside of the eye, so not too far that you're on the temple, just a little bit, just in that bony area, not in the fleshy, not like that, poke your eye out, just right there. 7 to 8 times. Directly, now if you're looking straight ahead, it's directly under your pupil. So 5 to 7 times, yeah? Excellent. Now you should actually start to feel a calming sensation, even though we're not really putting any words or emotion to it. It's whatever emotion is there, it actually works with us. Directly under the nose, so in your little groovy bit, I'll call it my little groovy bit, under your nose, 5 to 10 times. Directly under the lip, right there. Now if you find your collarbone, it's only about half an inch under your collarbone. Now either both sides or one side. It doesn't really matter, because your meridian points actually run down both sides of your body. So if you're stimulating this side actually automatically gets stimulated as well. But it's up to you. Sometimes I use both hands, sometimes I don't. Sometimes I just use one. Now, directly under the armpit. So for ladies, it's usually midway, halfway between their bra strap. So you can either use your thumb, like so, or you can bring your hand around like so. Whatever. I usually use my thumb. It's really easy. A lot easier. So under the armpit, and the last area is the very top of the head, so the crown of the head with your fingers, so I'll call it the claw, like that. So just around the crown of the head, 5 to 7 times. That's one round. And all you do after that is that you keep tapping in those points that I've just shown you until the actual intensity of the emotion that's going on gets less and less and less. This is so good for physical pain and emotional pain. Really, really quite effective. And it's so rewarding teaching people this, because it empowers them to heal themselves. An extraordinary tool. And under the armpit. So they are the points that you actually stimulate and you tap on. So the karate chop point, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, eyebrow. Anyway, so let's say we're going to do it for constricted breathing, so trouble breathing. it's important that you use your own language, but I'm just giving you an example. So I want you, right at the beginning, before you actually tap, it's a really good idea to get yourself in a private space. Turn your phone off, turn the telly off, let your family know, don't interrupt me for 5-10 minutes, I'm going to do some tapping, they're going to go, whatever, just try not to have any disruptions. Because what we're trying to do is to get yourself in that emotional space where what they call in EFT or tapping, they call charged. It's when you're emotionally charged with that energy in your body. That's what we're tapping out, okay? So the setup statement is, even though, and you start tapping on your karate chop point, even though I have this constricted breathing, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. But before you actually even start that, you have to score what that intensity is. So with the constricted breathing, take a really deep breath through your nose and then breathe it out. And when you do that, just score from a 0 to a 10 as to how difficult it is or how constricted you are in your breathing. Now, 10 is really, really hard, so if you're suffering from emphysema, but 0 obviously not. If it's 0, it's not tappable, it's not worth tapping on. It's usually trapped energy that cannot be processed naturally. I won't get into that, but where were we up to? 0 to 10, score what the difficulty or the constriction is. Like for an example, I'll do one on myself. I'd say about 8 out of 10. Hang on. No, that's really difficult breathing, isn't it? Closer to 10. No, I would say probably a 4 out of 10. 3 or 4 between there. Remember that when you're first starting out, actually if you can get into the practice of actually writing down what the intensity is, but also writing down what you're tapping on. I have actually tapped on people who have actually forgotten what they were tapping on initially, and then they sort of forget, and then they think they don't commit to keeping up the practice of tapping, and it's sort of forgotten. So let's go through a practice of it. And it's constricted breathing. It's a 3 or 4 out of 10. And this is what you say. You can repeat after me. Okay, tapping on the karate chop point. Even though I have this constricted breathing, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this constricted breathing, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Even though I have this constricted breathing, I deeply and completely love and accept myself. Now, beginning of the eyebrow, constricted breathing. Outside the eye, constricted breathing. 5 to 7 times, 5 to 10 times, directly under eye. Constricted breathing. Really focus on the emotion or where it is in your body. Constricted breathing directly under the nose, under the lip. Constricted breathing. You're really focused on that physical constricted breathing. Constricted breathing, but even more so the emotions. How does it make you feel? Constricted breathing under the armpit. Constricted breathing and the top of the head. Constricted breathing. Now, I'll take another deep breath and score and compare it to my original score. That's really good. That's not even a 1. So you score how it is for you, and that's just an example of a very simple tap. So you have the problem first, you score the intensity of whatever the emotion is connected to that what problem that you're tapping on, and then you tap it out. Now, the problem could be a physical or an emotional issue. Physical is I've done quite a bit of tapping on literally hundreds of people for pain. For example, a lady who was at work that I worked on had severe pain in her back. It was actually a 29 out of 10, 10 being the highest intensity. I actually had her as a demonstration as I was teaching it to the other patients. And I actually got a little bit nervous because I was thinking, oh my God, I'm on the spot. Everyone's watching me. Freaking hell. What if this doesn't work? Even though I know it works, I still had that little chatter crap happening, but I did it anyway. So it was 29 out of 10 that she scored. She was also in a car accident recently, probably in the last 3 months or so, and she was walking around with a walker. So she came into, I wish I would have filmed it, but wasn't allowed. She also had shoulder pain, which she scored one shoulder 8 out of 10 and the other one 9 out of 10. Now, this lady was in her 70s. She was an elderly lady, and she really struggled to get in and out of the chair. Fast forward 45 minutes later, after some tapping that I guided her through, I was astounded with the results. So this was intensive tapping on her back and both her shoulders for pretty severe pain, especially her back. Now, we managed to get the back pain to 2 out of 29. The shoulders, 0 out of 10. They're both 0 out of 10. But what really, really got me was her back. It was only a 2 out of 10. This lady was literally crying and didn't need her walker as she walked out. That's the power of EFT. And I really believe that my mission on this earth is to teach people en masse how to use EFT, and that it's available to them on the ends of their hands, on their fingers. These are the most natural, beautiful, powerful tools that we have to heal ourselves.